With 4 races left in the season, the points race has narrowed between series rivals Will Power and Dario Franchitti. Continuing their battle through conflict or victory, the two have become the drivers to watch all season. Goes to victory lane. Franchitti is the winner.
Man, Dario, he's twice done me dirty on the track.
He's pissed off right now, and he's going to be coming hard.
It is race day just to the west of the Inner Harbor in Baltimore, Maryland. This is the inaugural Grand Prix of Baltimore, and we are just about ready to give the command. There you see pit lane just below Oriole Park at Camden Yards, one of the most recognizable places in all of sports. General Colin Powell, who drove the pace car in Indy in 205, will give the command.
Are you ready? Hold on.
Well, some problems obviously with the mics down on pit lane where the command will be given. General Colin Powell, a big race fan. He was in the drivers' meeting today, and I just mentioned he drove the pace car in 2005 at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and Brian Barnhart said, anytime you want to do that again, just sign on the dotted line. And Colin started walking toward Brian with his arms out like he was ready to sign on the dotted line. He is a good race fan, a Corvette owner, and just a great ambassador for the sport of motor racing. Waiting the command to start engines. Again, 75 laps of competition on this 100 and 150 miles. There is Colin Powell. Took a ride in the pace car a little bit earlier, trying to get all the equipment down on the pit lane functioning.
Drivers, start your engines.
And there you have it.
Command has been given. The command has been given. Row 1, let me know. Hot. 2 hot. 3 hot. 4 hot. 5 hot. 6 hot. 7 hot. 8 hot. 9 hot. 10 hot. 11 hot. 12 hot. Row 14. All 4 cars cooking like clam chowder. All cars are running.
An appropriate comment for this area. Well, we focus on 2 drivers battling for the championship, but there are 26 others that also hope to make this their big day here in the streets of Baltimore, Maryland. Honda's fastest seat in sports sweepstakes has been very popular. Log on to shophonda.com to enter. This week's lucky winner is Vicky Butson from Altamont Springs, Florida. Vicky, can you hear me? Vicky, can you hear me? I think she hears us, but I don't think she's able to talk right now. Al Unser Jr. is driving Vicky around this racetrack here in Baltimore, getting the set and pacing the field for today's race. She obviously is having a very good time in the seat. By logging on to shophonda.com, Vicky won the opportunity to start today's race in the IZOD 2-seater driven by Al Unser Jr. All right, let's bring in Jan Beekes as we take a closer look at the street course here in Baltimore.
Both Al Unser Jr. and Vicky are taking a look at the course as we speak, and what they're going to see is they're going to work their way through the city streets and, of course, around Camden Yards. Turn number 1, that's what Wally was talking about, very bumpy. This is all the concrete section of the racetrack. Turn 3, another good place to pass. But right when you hit turn 5, right there, it turns to asphalt. All these corners are asphalt. They're much higher grip. They're smoother. You build your speed, and you continue to build speed. Some of the fastest corners, 10, 11. Then you turn on the Pratt Street there, turn 12, goes back to concrete. But note the pit lane. It is not on the start-finish straightaway. There's kind of a circuitous route you have to take on the way in. Watch the exit of pit road as well.
Here's a great shot of how bumpy this place is. There's Danica Patrick. And most of the drivers I've talked to today say that this is the roughest, the bumpiest racetrack that they've ever been on. Pretty incredible.
That is there at the chicane just off of turn number 12. And that's just beyond that is where they will get the green flag. Let's take a look at the Mother's Polish starting grid for today's race. Will Power wins the pole and moves another point closer to championship points leader Dario Franchitti. Graham Rahal will start on the outside of row number 1. Ryan Briscoe and Franchitti will occupy row number 2. In the third row, Sebastian Bourdais and Ryan Hunter-Reay.
Yeah, Bourdais, this is his best start this year, 5th today. He's got great finishes, 6th at Toronto, Edmonton, and Sonoma. But here's a guy that's got 31 wins, 31 poles. Things are starting to gel with him and Dale Coyne Racing. You can't count this guy out.
In row number 4 for today's race, Mike Conway, the winner of Long Beach, and E.J. Viso. In row number 5, Scott Dixon and Simona De Silvestro.
And Simona is so happy to be back with her team to get reunited after solving her immigration issues. The paperwork was fine. Now she's back in. She thinks this racetrack is the great equalizer. She thinks she'll be fast.
The fastest rookie qualifier yesterday, James Jakes. He will start on the inside of row number 6. Veteran Vitor Mira alongside. Giorgio Pontino will be back in the 22 car, substituting for Justin Wilson. Oriol Servia will start alongside him. Rookie contender for Rookie of the Year honors, James Hinchcliffe and Charlie Kimball, a couple of rookies in row number 8. The 9th row, J.R. Hildebrand and Martin Plowman. And as you take a look at the rest of the starting lineup, we have had 7 different winners in 14 races so far in 2011. And we could very definitely see a new face in victory lane here this afternoon on a very, very unpredictable street course.
I think those two guys should just lay way back. If I was Kanaan or Castroneves, I think I would just give them about a half a lap head start.
Yep. Kanaan and Castroneves, of course, were the two involved in the big crash earlier today that forced both Kanaan and Castroneves to go to backup cars.
Bob, it's a good opportunity to look at the Sunoco pit strategy. Anytime you have big, wide windows like those, that is a great opportunity for people to roll the dice. And those mid-pack and backpack definitely pit early, hope for yellow. Lindy, what's the situation for Jimmy Vasser and Sato?
Well, Jimmy Sato starting near the back because of a qualifying incident. This is a tough one to call. What is your game plan here based on where he's at?
Well, generally you try to do the opposite of what the leaders will do. We think there's going to be a lot of yellow and a lot of opportunity to go off strategy. But it's, it's unfortunate. We did have the speed to qualify up front and just spun there at the end. Also going to be particularly careful at the start. We're going to try to have him hang back and not get caught up in turn 1.
So it could be an advantage where he's at in the end.
Yeah, it could, actually. And, Tony's back there with the bad crash we had in the morning. So, we got, with the yellow flags, it gives you an opportunity to go off strategy, and it could pay off.
There you have it, Bob.
On board, J.R. Hildebrand will carry one of our onboard camera for the National Guard. Next will be Mike Conway, who carries the Firestone onboard camera this week. There's Helio Castroneves, who will start at the rear of the field. Dario Franchitti will also carry one of our onboard cameras. Ryan Briscoe has the IZOD onboard camera. And Will Power, of course, with the Verizon onboard camera. We're just a little bit away from the start of today's race, and this is just going to be a very, very interesting start of the race. The people here have done a tremendous job putting this course together. You see some tires now being adjusted here just before the start of the race, but they have done a tremendous job putting up the jersey barriers, the fencing, all the tires to get things ready for this race here this weekend. Our hats off to all the people of Baltimore. They have been very, very hospitable to us since our arrival here on Thursday. And let's get a report from on Graham Rahal.
Well, Bob, there's so much to watch in today's race. We have the championship battle that we talked about earlier with Will Power and Dario Franchitti duking it out. And you can't forget about Graham Rahal. He hasn't won in 3 years. He has his best start of the season today when he starts in second position. And he told me before he climbed in the car, he was a little surprised that Will Power chose driver's side right to start the race. He thinks driver's side left is the best lane. He said, that's where we've been all weekend. I think I might have the advantage going into turn one. But remember, Will Power has to hit that start-finish line first. Then Graham Rahal can make his move, and that's if we can get all those cars through turn one. That seems to be the big question, Bob.
They move through turn 7 down into turn number 8. This is an inaugural venue. How about some other major open-wheel winners at inaugural places? Ronnie Bucknam, I remember being at the race in Michigan in 1968 when he won that inaugural race. A.J. Foyt in 1964 at Phoenix. Sebastian Bourdais won in 2005 at Edmonton and San Jose, and Will Power won a street race in Las Vegas in 2007.
Were you at every race, Bob?
Back in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, yeah. And then I started working. And on this date, back in 1961 at DuQuoin, Illinois, on the 1 mile dirt, A.J. Foyt beat Shorty Templeman and Eddie Saxon in 77 at the Ontario 500. I don't think I was there for that. Al Unser beat Foyt and Tom Sneva. And also in 1988, Emo won at Emo, Mid-Ohio, and in 94, Al Unser Jr. was the winner at Vancouver on this very busy motorsports weekend, Labor Day weekend. And we wish all of you a very, very good Labor Day weekend. Robin?
Bobby, I've been to a couple more races than you, but we're both old guys. All I can tell you is this is the 15th time they've tried an INDYCAR race in the streets. And I got to tell you, I've never seen a race that's got more potential than this does, just the way the track's laid out, right in the middle of the city with all the restaurants and bars. We might have a lot of new fans and a lot of drunk fans, but I think they're going to be happy fans.
No, I think you're absolutely right. They have definitely turned out for the weekend, beginning on Friday when we had a practice period. On the all-time list, Mario Andretti 26, Dario Franchitti 24. And where has Dario not won? Well, it includes here, Motegi, Kentucky, and Las Vegas, the final 4 races on the schedule. So maybe that says something for the championship that is unfolding before us. Lindy.
Hey, take a look at where Hunter Ray is pitted. Across pit lane, Danica and Ed are pitted. The outside tire changers here are a little bit worried about that. Also, Brian Hunter-Reay says if Scheckter is laid out when he's coming in, it's really hard for him to see. They've told him, act like you did at Mid-Ohio. Get your front tires where they need to be. Let the rear guys get where they need to go, because at that point, Bob, he can still get out the way he needs to be. Pit lane is going to be tight today.
They're moving through turns 10 and 11 here, setting up for turn number 12 and the start of the race. The field is kind of spread out here.
You've been watching the onboard here of Castroneves. He laid way back and let the field go, and then he got on it real hard, and I think he's just testing his car out because he doesn't have any laps on this race car.
Yep. Very good point. That's a spare car that he wants to get the feel of, and as they come on to Pratt Street, they were told in the driver's meeting to go single file through the chicane as they're doing now. Right past the chicane, they're going to form up the double file, and before you know it, the hammer will be down.
And here is the 2 abreast formation. The green flag for the inaugural Baltimore Grand Prix waves. The dream of this city is a reality. Let's see what happens in the turn.
Rahal really got in there good.
Oh, they go through two abreast in the first three rows at least, and Rahal has the lead.
Just as Marty said, Graham Rahal thought there was more grip, and here comes Power to the inside.
He's going to get the lead in turn number 3. Already 2 passes here. The rest of the field coming through this hairpin turn at turn number 3.
And 2 of those passes were for the lead, a pass and a repass. That was awesome.
Here's the Honda tread cam located between turns 4 and 5. They're coming right at you and right over your head. Power has the lead as they go down the pit straight. Pit's on the left of your screen. 3rd place is Franchitti. 4th is Briscoe, Bourdais, Hunter Ray. Conway, and by golly, they survived the first lap so far, at least in what we thought might be a problem.
They pushed in the drivers' meeting. Brian Barnhart said, you guys need to make good decisions on the start. Nobody's got through turn 1 in any of the other races this weekend without piling them up. So they obviously did a good job here.
They sure did. Hats off. But look how bumpy it is coming off corner number 12 through the chicane once again and about to complete lap number 1. Power will have the advantage. The distinction of leading the very first lap in the Baltimore Grand Prix. Bourdais, Hunter Ray in 6th. There's Conway, Viso, Dixon, De Silvestro, Jakes, Mira, Pontano, Serbia, Hinchcliffe, Kimball. Everybody running cleanly now as one lap is complete. Just a great shot of the straightaway between turns 2 and 3. There's James Hinchcliffe right ahead of Charlie Kimball.
Brian Hunter-Reay in yellow and white DHL colors, chasing down the Boy Scout red, white, and blue of Sebastian Bourdais.
That's for 5th and 6th position. Bourdais running in 5th. Hunter-Reay in 6th.
Speaking of colors, right behind them is Mike Conway. That's a new paint scheme, black and yellow for him. You'll see him just come into the frame here. Mike Conway, of course, the winner in Long Beach.
That long exit there at turn number 9, that's an area that Jan has said we should keep very close eye on through the weekend. So far, okay, this is turn number 12 now as they come out onto the front stretch, but first going through this chicane. Marty.
And Bob, that's a very angry Mike Conway behind the Buffalo Wild Wings wheel. He said, you know, Matt, in qualifying, I really messed up. That was totally my fault. We had a car that should have been not only in the Fast 6, but maybe a car that could have contended for the pole today. He said, we have a car that should finish on the podium. If we can survive, I think we can finish there.
There's a lot of guys, too, Marty, that just didn't get what they wanted in qualifying. I think had a lot of good cars outside the top 10 that just didn't get laps. Serbia was one of them. You know, Dixon was scratching his head after qualifying as well. So I think there's a lot of sleepers in the back here.
Buffalo Wild Wings, the new sponsor on the car this weekend for Mike Conway, car 27. This is an area where Ryan Briscoe had problems on Friday, having a really bad crash. They got the car okay, though. Well, this is the 19th consecutive road race that Will Power has led. It's the 11th race that he has led this season. That's 2 more than his points rival, Dario Franchitti. Stay with us. Power leads over Rahal and Franchitti.
The Baltimore Grand Prix on Versus is brought to you by Honda, the engine supplier for the IZOD INDYCAR Series, and by IZOD, the official apparel of the IZOD INDYCAR Series, available at Macy's.
There's a reason why. In 6 years of powering every car in the Indianapolis 500 race, not a single Honda engine has failed. It's not the parts we make them from. It's the part we put in to every Honda.
What happens when you use peak motor oil? Premium performance and can save up to 10 gallons of gas every time you change your oil. So any car runs like a 10, even if it's more like a 6. You're not not just changing oil, you're saving gas. Put Peak Motor Oil in. Save on gas.
In INDYCAR racing, it's all about speed, and the action happens in the blink of an eye. So you need something that helps you keep up, like INDYCAR Mobile from Verizon. It lets you keep pace with in-race audio, up to the second leaderboards, highlights, and even driver tweets. Download it now! Before the season passes you
by! With the INDYCAR points lead tighter than ever, we set off for Japan.